First, this news.
From National Public Radio News in Washington, I'm Laura Kanoy. Iraq has agreed in principle to allow the United Nations to resume relief work in the country before winter. The UN hopes the move will prevent another exodus of Kurdish refugees. The agreement was reached as a 50-member team of UN weapons inspectors began looking for Scud missiles. Mike Theodulu reports.
After 4 days of intensive talks in Baghdad, senior UN officials have persuaded the Iraqi government to allow the resumption of relief work, which has been at a standstill since June. The agreement's valid till next March, and the new aid package is worth at least $180 million. About half will go to the Kurds before the harsh northern winter sets in. They're very short of food and fuel, and there were fears of another Kurdish refugee crisis. Officially, too, Iraq appears less hostile to UN weapons inspectors. The latest team, which began work today, with a visit to an undisclosed site to hunt for Scud missiles. The Information Minister, Yusuf Hamadi, said Iraq would do everything to ensure their safety. Saddam recently called UN weapons experts stray dogs that should be confronted, and earlier teams have been attacked. For National Public Radio, I'm Mike Theodulu in Nicosia.
The Palestine Liberation Organization has given the go-ahead for Palestinians to attend the next round of Middle East peace talks, scheduled to start this Wednesday in Washington. At a meeting in Tunis, the PLO called for the talks to be based on United Nations Security Council resolutions. Jackie Rowland reports.
It was widely expected that the PLO would agree to the Palestinians continuing with the peace talks. But the meeting in Tunis gave opponents to the talks a chance to express their reservations. At the end of the meeting, the PLO called on Israel to trade land for peace and withdraw from the occupied territories. The PLO also repeated its demand that Palestinians from both inside and outside the territories should be allowed to participate in the talks. Members of the Palestinian delegation to the peace talks attended the meeting and are now preparing for the next round of negotiations. But the leader of the delegation said he doubted the Israelis would have anything new to offer. For National Public Radio, this is Jackie Rowland in Tunis.
President Bush is at Camp David for most of the weekend, preparing for Monday night's debate in East Lansing, Michigan. He has no campaign events scheduled until then. In New Jersey yesterday, Mr. Bush said the race is far from over. He told supporters he'll surprise the pundits, annoy the media, and hit a home run on November 3rd. Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton is mostly staying out of the spotlight today. Clinton is resting his voice and getting ready for the final debate. On a campaign stop through Louisiana Friday, Clinton let running mate Al Gore do all the talking. Independent Ross Perot went on TV again last night to tell people that the government must raise taxes to wipe out the deficit. Perot bought a half hour of time on NBC. He proposed higher income taxes. This is NPR News.
It's 4 minutes past 1 o'clock, and good afternoon. Bill Henderson with the news for Minnesota Public Radio. Northern States Power Company has suspended some employees at the Prairie Island Nuclear Power Plant. It's for violating requirements of a Minnesota Pollution Control Agency permit. But NSP Executive Vice President Greg Blair says the violations are not safety-related. He says the permit requires workers to monitor the cooling water discharge daily for the chlorine levels.
What we found through our auditing process, and we have a very comprehensive auditing process, was that these employees were just doing calculations, not taking the physical sample, which is a violation of that permit.
Blair would not disclose the number of employees who were suspended, but he said there could be more. Union leaders are meeting today in Miami to decide whether Northwest Airlines pilots will make contract concessions. The group voted last month to recommend the move and met with members in a series of informational sessions. Northwest is asking for all of its workers for concessions totaling about $300 million. Something has to give today in that logjam for second place in the Big Ten football race. Michigan on top at 2-0. Ohio State last for the first time since 1947. It's the Michigan State-Minnesota game, and it could become a scoring battle involving Spartans tailback Tico Duckett and Minnesota quarterback Markel Fleetwood. The Gophers quarterback is the nation's leader in total offense. Our forecast for Minnesota: snow showers or sprinkles ending in the northeast. It'll be partly to mostly cloudy elsewhere. Highs will be near 30 in the northeast to the middle 40s in the south. Clear to partly cloudy tonight and cold. Lows from the teens in the north to around 20 in the south. At Duluth this hour, some flurries and 33 degrees. At St. Cloud, the temperature reading is 40 degrees with partly sunny. Rochester has 40. And in Minneapolis, St. Paul, partly sunny and 43 degrees. It's 106. Bill Henderson for Minnesota Public Radio.